prepare for our first guest this evening, head coach Juan Mascaro. Really excited to have Coach Mascaro on the show, especially coming off this breaking news. And actually, we'll give it a couple more minutes here. So just to reiterate it again, the Tornadoes qualified to play in the ECAC D3 Women's Soccer Championship. If you're wondering what that is, the ECAC is the Eastern College Athletic Conference. And the ECAC is an opportunity for many teams, not just in Division III, but throughout the NCAA, to have another opportunity for postseason play to get a chance, if they don't qualify for the NCAA tournament, to continue their postseason. And it's especially attractive this season for the Tornadoes, who are in transition to NCAA Division III, and wanted to provide an opportunity for the student athletes to have a chance to play in postseason. And the ECA tournament was that option. Today the field was announced, 16 teams in the ECAC tournament, and very excited right now to have head women's soccer coach Juan Mascaro on the show, coming off this big news.
Phil, thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Congratulations, Coach. So at 4:57 p.m. today,
yes,
an email was sent to our Director of Athletics, Miranda Nash,
yes,
that gave us the great news.
Correct.
That the Tornadoes have qualified for the Women's Soccer ECAC Championship.
So I think that what happened was they sent an email and they posted on the website at the same time. So I actually had my kids on the cell phones yelling and screaming about how excited they were, and I was getting the email at that same time. So it was a pretty emotional moment for us.
Well, absolutely. And that was my first question. Was the team gathered up?
We were not. We were not. So they were gathered in the rooms, and they were looking on the website to see if it's going to be posted or not, because we didn't really know at what time they would post. You know, because they started, I think, with field hockey this morning, and then they went volleyball, and then soccer. So it could have been, you know, it could have been any time throughout the day. So when men's soccer came out, we knew women's soccer was going to be next, but we didn't know how long it was going to take. So I think we were, you know, all of them were watching, and then it came out, and the news came out. And you know, they were extremely excited. I'm extremely excited. I mean, it's a great accomplishment for this team. It's a very deserved accomplishment for this team.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No doubt, and I do want to get into all the facts and figures about this team this season, and also that exceptional senior class with you. But before we do so, if we can talk just a little bit about this week now. You know, certainly
change of plans.
We're
practicing tomorrow.
New plans. So game versus McDaniel. That's up in Westminster, Maryland. So what's the plan for the week in terms of practice?
The plan for the weekend is we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and probably Thursday early, and then we're probably going to leave Thursday night, Thursday afternoon, probably around 3 or 4 o'clock, and try to get there, you know, around 11 o'clock. Then practice Friday over there, and then play at 11 o'clock on Saturday.
Now, you mentioned how deserving this team was, and just to give you folks a little bit of an idea of just some of these numbers. You know, they had a school record win streak at one point in September 18th to the 30th, 5 straight wins. They finished the regular season with just dominant wins, 11-1 over their last 2 opponents. Goal differential 41-22 on the season. Defensively posted 7 shutouts. Goal against average 1.22, and at home we're just basically unstoppable. Goal differential of 29-5. This team was exceptional. We can talk about the stats all day. From your perspective as the head coach, what made this team so special this year?
I think first of all, I mean, this is really probably one of the best teams that I've been the pleasure to coach. Absolutely. And I think what brings it together is, and I think we talked about this a little bit in the first interview a couple of weeks ago, is the leadership of the 5 seniors.
USA South Player of the Week 1 week, also was named to a USA South Divisional team, and perhaps as telling as anything, was also named to that USA South All-Sportsmanship team. I know Ashley's exceptional off the field as well.
Absolutely.
You know, tell us a little bit more about Ashley.
You know, a great student. She's going to go to dental school. She's going to be a phenomenal dentist one day. You know, just one of those kids that she puts the team first. And she's been with us 4 years. So, and she scored, I think she's tied for the first place in scoring with career goals with 25 goals. So you ask yourself, why didn't she have more goals, you know, 3 years ago? And because she had to really kind of sacrifice herself, the possibility of scoring to play all the positions. She played the first year she had to play as a holding midfielder. And last year she had to play as a center back the whole year. And she scored some goals last year, but not. So this is the first year that we've had you know, the ability to play her as a center forward, which is her natural position. But you know, she understood that the last 2 years she had to do it for the team. And she did it, and she did it with a smile, and she was gracious about it, and we appreciate that for her. But it is, you know, that's what it tells you when somebody puts the needs of the team before their own personal needs, and that is what Ashley has done this 4 years.
Outstanding. Now, our next senior, also a captain, senior midfielder from Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, Caroline David is who gets it done in terms of setting up her teammates. She sits alone atop both the single season and career Brevard College and Sierra assist records. She had 18 career assists, giving her that mark on the career side, 38 career points. Really, to me, you know, watching your team play, the engine that makes it all happen out there. Tell us even more about Caroline David.
You know, a phenomenal student, phenomenal individual. She's so dedicated to what she does, and she does it with such passion that is contagious. And a similar scenario to Ashley. You know, Caroline, you know, she loves to play on the outside. She loves to play up top on the outside because she loves to take players on and go down that line. But she understands, and she bought into it, and she understood that she needed to be that engine that will help us get goals. And, you know, there's a professional women's soccer player, Ali Wampak, that said, you know, for every goal I've scored, somebody passed that ball to me. You know, and that's how soccer works.
Yep.
So she understood that she needed to be that engine, and that she was very good at it. And you know, proof is in the stats.
Yeah,
it's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal way of putting, you know, sacrificing in a way of scoring goals, but giving that opportunity to score goals.
Yeah, and not just the assist, but I noticed the ball possession just goes through her so often.
Oh yeah. She's our go-to person. I mean, she runs the midfield. You know, she runs the midfield. You know, we have a freshman midfielder, you know, Avi Petrowski, and then we was playing the midfield. We had Sally Reagan, but she's injured now with a broken foot. So Caroline, you know, Caroline runs the midfield, and she takes that responsibility very seriously. She does.
No doubt about it. Now our next senior, also a captain, so there's 3 captains on this team. You know, early in the schedule of tornado talks, we have these 3 ladies on the show, but is Megan Shiner, senior forward from Jamestown, North Carolina. She's tied atop the DC record books with Ashley Hughes, as we mentioned earlier, in career goals scored here at Brevard College, has 56 career points, which is also Brevard NCAA era record. Tell us even more about Megan, who I know is also exceptional off the field as well, just like these others. You know, maybe something that the audience doesn't know about Megan.
Megan is the tireless worker. I've never seen a soccer player work so hard. You know, you see as a coach on the sideline, you see that ball that is going out of bounds. Megan's going to run for that ball. And she might get to it. And then she might score out of that ball. So she has scored goals out of pure work. And that is very satisfying to watch. Because, you know, hard work pays off. It does. And she does it game in, game out. You know, you can see sometimes we're playing and we're down a little bit. There goes Megan just running after every ball, and she lifts the energy right back up. So it's very special to watch. I wish all the all the players that I have from this moment forward would work, 75% of what Lane works, because it's just unbelievable.
Now our next senior doesn't have the stats to show for it, because by position the stats don't necessarily show up. And with the exception we talked about from a team standpoint, 7 shutouts, 1.22 goals per game average. Lane Birchdale, the senior defender from Riverside, California, was a guest on the show a couple weeks ago at Myers Dining Hall. Another exceptional piece to this team, and another senior I know you're proud of, Coach.
Very proud. Described by her teammates as a brick wall. And Lane is a brick wall. I mean, I'm so happy for Lane that she had a phenomenal senior year, because she had a great freshman year, then she got injured, and it took her about a year and a half to come back. And this was this was really the year that she had to be herself. And she has played every minute of her game except for a couple of minutes in the game that I think she was injured. But she's the rock of the defense. And all those stats on the defensive side are probably 90% because of Lane. I mean, she is the rock in the back, and just a phenomenal human being, a great team leader. I mean, she leads by example. Not a great talker, but she leads by example, and you need those kids that they show you how to do it.
Yep. Now
they don't tell you how to do it; they show you how to do it.
The next senior is at a position that, when I survey your team, Coach, you're incredibly deep at the goalkeeper position.
We are. We're blessed.
You've got.
We are. We're blessed.
Hannah Weatherall, a 2-time USA South Conference Defensive Player of the Week. Rebecca Rojas, who also won a USA South Defensive Player of the Week. And then also Elise Yeomans, who, I know a couple seasons ago had some, significant playing time, in the net for the Tornadoes. Tell us about Elise and how valuable she is.
She is, all the stats that Rebecca and Hannah have are probably because of Elise, because Elise this season was our goalkeeper coach.
Interesting.
And she's been the rock for that group. And she has taken those girls and has really pushed them to be better goalkeepers. And she really is the glue to the team. Elise is the one that brings the team together. She's the one that keeps us together, always positive. And it's hard when you're not playing. It's hard when you're not playing and keeping that positive. When the kids see that, they want to follow. They want to follow you as a leader. So she's a tremendous leader. And in my mind, she's my goalkeeper coach.
Very, very valuable part of the equation.
Absolutely, no doubt.
The senior goalkeeper from West Hartford, Connecticut. And then one other graduating senior I do want to mention, who was honored on Senior Day, is your student assistant, Mascaro, who played for you last year.
Maya played for us last year. Phenomenal soccer player. Just a phenomenal soccer player. But she had 1 year left of eligibility, and this year she had to come back to get her degree. And she asked if she could be student teacher, student coach. And we said absolutely. And Maya she helps out in any way, shape, or form. And she's also that glue to the team, and she brings the team together in her own way. But Maya is very special, and I'm very grateful to have Maya. Well, we also had Amber Hong as our intern, and she's also been a great asset to the team. Great asset to the team.
Well, top to bottom, Coach, it's an exceptional squad, and we're just thrilled that they have the opportunity to keep on playing this season. Once again, if you're just tuning in, Brevard College qualified to play in the ECAC Division III Women's Soccer Championships. That news broke a couple of hours ago today. The Tornadoes will head to Westminster, Maryland to face off against McDaniel. Now, McDaniel is one of the #1 seeds, Coach, and I know it's just been a couple hours since the bracket was released. Do you know anything about McDaniel, or have you started?
I do not know much about McDaniels, but they're a good team. They're solid. They're a good team. They play in a very good conference. But we have a game plan. We're going to go play soccer. We're going to play great soccer, and we're going to go beat them. Well, that's that. And how special it is for those seniors that I told them today that we're going to get them back from our retirement to play one more soccer game. To have that experience, that you think your career is over, and you get the chance to go play one more soccer game, go one more bus ride. And have that experience is phenomenal. And I'm so excited and happy for them that they're able to have that experience.
Yeah. On behalf of all of us at Brevard College, we're absolutely thrilled for the team as well. And I could tell from the reaction on social media, the student athletes were pretty fired up about this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming on Tornado Pub. I'm glad it's coming off such exciting, good news this evening. We'll be watching every step of the way. Again, 11 a.m. on Saturday, Brevard versus McDaniel. Any final thoughts as far as impressions you want to make sure people know about this team?
No, I think it's a phenomenal women's soccer team. We've had a phenomenal season, and I'm extremely proud to be their coach. I'm extremely proud.
Thank you, Coach, for the leadership of that team and for making us proud.
Thanks for having us.
That was head coach Juan Mascaro of Brevard College women's soccer as an exciting evening for the women's soccer team heading to the SAAC championships. And now excited to have a couple members of the men's lacrosse team. See these guys occasionally in the press box at Brevard Memorial Stadium as well. Great to have with us Paxton Brown and Jack Shade. All right, gentlemen. Well, I do want to talk a little bit of men's lacrosse. Your season's in the spring, right? But I also want to focus on your role as leadership for SAAC and for those who might not know, Student Athletes Advisory Committee. Jack is the president of SAAC, and Paxton is the head of community engagement. First, just a basic question. What is SAAC, and what is your function on campus?
Okay, so SAAC is basically a platform that allows student athletes to talk and meet with each other about anything going on in their teams. It's outside of the coaches, it's outside of the administration, it's an opportunity to share if there's any problems, concerns, or feelings they may have of doubt. We meet once a month and have a community engagement once a month, and it's a great way just to meet other people playing sports that you may not know on different teams or on the women's teams versus men's teams. Just a great way to interact with the community.
Paxton, anything to add to that, or did Jack cover it pretty well?
He pretty much covered it.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you guys, the leadership of SAAC, is this incredible program that is ongoing, but you had your big event, about a week ago on Sunday, October 28th, Brevard College student athletes collected 1,174 non-perishable items for the Bread of Life Food Bank and Community Kitchen. And what you guys did, and not just, the lacrosse team, or not just the members of SAAC, but, athletic department-wide, every team participating, was you trick-or-treated through the streets of Brevard. And instead of asking for candy, you asked for non-perishable goods, cans, to go towards this Cans Across the Conference program that the USA South Conference is doing now. I've got an updated total for us. 1,840 cans have been collected now for that overall goal. And I know, I hear 2,000 is in, sites now, is the new goal. But tell us a little about this program. Who came up with the idea as far as trick-or-treating? How did it actually get executed? And I'm sure something you guys are really proud of.
Yeah, so this is kind of more what I do for the SAAC. So I met with some of the advisors of the athletic board, basically, and each team got a street, and we went up and down that street and knocked on the doors, and just about as friendly as possible, you asked for some cans, and the number that we have this year has blown away last year's number. And I think as far as a community, the community itself sees us and puts names with faces. It's not just people in jerseys on the field or on the court, but yeah, I mean it's a great team building opportunity, which we like to think is one of the most important things we do. But it also brings the entire athletic department together, and it just connects the community with our teams, and it's going towards a great cause.
And Jack, I noticed that there was even some significant follow-up after the collection of the cans as far as delivering them by student athletes to the Bread of Life.
Right. So just about once a week we have different sports teams, whether they're available or not, deliver these cans and just help to put a face to their donations. So we deliver them. I believe women's lacrosse did it last week, and it helps put a face to where their Bread of Life is getting these cans from. So it's really nice. It just helps interact and interweave all of the community.
Now, Paxton, in first, congratulations to both you guys on your leadership of this program and to all the student athletes of Brevard College for this sensational program. Paxton, what I'd like to hear from you is, what are some of the other community engagement events that you guys either have planned or have done, recently beyond the Cans Across the Conference?
Well, Cans Across the Conference was a big deal. We're, of course, accepting donations at any time for that. But we're also going to be working with the Special Olympics here in town. That's another big thing that we do. And we're based, I know we have different, volunteer opportunities per team. For example, the men's lacrosse team is working with Headstrong. We're doing a mustache madness, which we're all growing mustaches. Some of us are doing it better than others. But it's all to raise money, and that's for cancer, which is the Headstrong Foundation. But we have a lot of new stuff planned for this year, and it's very exciting. It's coming down the pipeline.
A lot to be proud of, and I know it feels great to give back like that.
Oh, of course.
Well, I do want to mention the other officers of SAAC. And Jack, as president of SAAC, maybe you can describe briefly what each of them do as far as their roles. Vice Presidents, Anna Lee Bollinger from women's basketball. The secretary, who we mentioned with Coach Mascaro, is Ashley Hughes of women's soccer. And in addition to Paxton Brown, who heads up community engagement, the marketing and event coordinator is Kelly Wilkins of women's lacrosse. What are those other roles amongst the SAAC leadership?
So Kelly Wilkins, the marketing and event coordinator, helps to get our following and keep the communication with the community through social media. So she's all over Instagram, Twitter, all those medias. Ashley Hughes helps with our meetings once a month and directing any events we have with Paxton, and helps to organize the teams into what we're doing. She also helps take notes and communicates with the administration. And then Anna Lee is my assistant. I'm vice president, just a good friend, but she helps with assisting me if I'm not available. Her and I run meetings if Jamie Atkinson is not available or Mariah is not available, and she helps with communication through Jamie Atkinson.
Well, appreciate again your leadership in SAAC. Now, just to let folks learn a little more about you and also to talk a little lacrosse. Jack, you're from Pennsylvania,
yes.
And Axel, you're from Columbia, South Carolina. First, question that I love asking student athletes here at Brevard College. How did you find Brevard College?
Well, ever since I was little, my family and I spent a lot of time in Hendersonville. We came up to the mountains a lot. It's only a 2-hour drive from Columbia. It's a great getaway. And when I first came to Brevard, I wasn't even on my radar, to be honest. But I came here, I did the campus tour, I met the team, and I fell in love with the place. It just felt like home, and 4 years later, I still feel the same way.
And Jack, how about yourself?
So I don't have as cute of a story as Paxton, but I, trying to play lacrosse in college, I was looking all over schools in Philadelphia, schools in the Pennsylvania area, schools in New Jersey, and then I went and played at a showcase and met the head lacrosse coach Brevard at the time, Kevin Anderson. And he was like, hey, just come down, come check it out. It's a beautiful school. We'll have a good time. You can stay overnight. And I stepped out on the field on my overnight and just, I was blown away by the mountains. I grew up in the city, like, you know, concrete jungle, and stepping out and seeing mountain ranges all around, I fell in love.
And the rest is history. Here you two are as seniors and leaders on that SAAC committee, and also, you know, key parts about lacrosse team. Now, fall workouts underway, you know, for you guys. What are the kind of things you guys do in the off season with the spring schedule for lacrosse to prepare?
So we just finished our actual fall ball where we got together every day, practice. We finished with a scrimmage at Lenore Rhine, and we are working just about as hard as we can during the winter. We're getting ready for January. We're getting up early, getting up at 5 a.m., doing our runs, getting our lifts in, and we're looking, you know, to do just as well as we did last year, if not better.
Outstanding. Pleased with how the fall is going, Jeff?
I'm excited. We have our new leadership under Coach Fritz, and it's looking in the positive direction compared to last year as well. I mean, we did great last year, but I think we can do conference championships this year. So.
Now, you guys aren't in the category of a couple of the other sports here at Brevard College, climbing and cycling. However, and one of the things I try to do with folks on those two sports is educate them a little bit. You know, if someone's unfamiliar with the sport, lacrosse is really a regional sport. There's certain pockets of the country where it's huge, and others where it's not played at all. You know, network TV, especially ESPN, has been doing a great job, you know, of airing more and more games, you know, and educating folks as far as the sport goes. For someone who's never watched a lacrosse game live, you know, how would you, you know, kind of prepare them for that experience, and, you know, what should they be looking for, you know, and also what makes it exciting?
Well, where I'm in South Carolina, we're just kind of starting to hit a stride in lacrosse. We're always big baseball and football. So my last year of lacrosse in high school was when we really started to pop. And of course, when I tell people around my community at home, it's hockey, soccer, and basketball all mixed together. And they get kind of confused for a second.
Right.
But once they see it, I mean, almost everybody I've talked to, they fall in love with it. But the one thing that I hear time and time again is it's so fast, I don't know where the ball is, and y'all can get pretty violent.
And Jack, what would your advice be to someone who's watching a lacrosse game live? You know, because we want folks to come here to Brevard College and see you guys in action.
So, I mean, it's the fastest sport on 2 feet. Right there, it should blow you away. I mean, you have soccer where it's a little slower pace, but it's fun to watch and you can see the ball easier. But we have the physicality of football and hockey mixed with the finesse of soccer and basketball. And it's just, it's a marvel to play, I think.
I think the more you watch it, the more you understand it, is the more addicting it becomes. At least in my experience. I didn't start playing until at the beginning of high school, and you know, I haven't had enough. You know, just every day it just gets better. I love playing, I love watching, and my family and my friends at home and everybody I've seen here, they come out to a game for the first time and they watch us and they try to get what's going on, and then they see us walk off the field and they go, you know, I really enjoyed that. I'm coming back.
Great. And Jack, I know, you know, up in Pennsylvania, lacrosse is a big deal, unlike it might have, you know, been in Columbia, South Carolina when you were coming up, Axel. When did you first pick up a lacrosse game?
So, my stepdad, huge baseball player, huge baseball fan. I grew up playing like 4 different baseball teams. And then I just had enough. And so 6th grade, I put down the glove and they were like, you got to do something. So I decided, and I was like, yeah, what's lacrosse? I'll try it out. And started playing then. And I grew up 5 minutes down the road from the Haverford School, which is like the top private school for high school in lacrosse. And so I was playing and I was looking and seeing all these kids my age who had been playing since they were 2 and competing against them, and you only just wanted to get better and better and be at their level. And these kids have gone Division I, Division like all over. So it just, I picked up in 6th grade, and you, like Paxton said, it's addictive. You just want to keep getting better, keep playing, keep learning, keep watching, and it's always changing. I mean, the rules are changing each year. We're trying to keep up with the rules just because they've added the dive back in, so it's fun.
Yeah, and no doubt one of the fastest growing sports across the country. More and more youth are getting started with lacrosse. And, I'm excited to see you guys play this spring in earnest, when it really kicks off. Now, just want to tell folks one more time who these two are. Jack Shade, president of the Student Athletes Advisory Committee, also student athlete on the men's lacrosse team, and also from men's lacrosse, Paxton Brown. He's the head of community engagement for the Student Athletes Advisory Committee, and these guys just finished up a phenomenal program. 1,174 cans were collected on Sunday, October 28th through the streets of Brevard, with the Brevard College student athletes from all 21 of BC's varsity sports went trick-or-treating through the streets. So congratulations on that great program. Keep up the great work as far as leaders of the SAAC committee, and looking forward to seeing you guys on the lacrosse field sometime soon here. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that was Jack Shade and Paxton Brown of men's lacrosse. Leadership of that Student Athletes Advisory Committee. As we're joined now by two senior football players, Tyler Gregory and Axel Easter. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Yes, sir. Good to be here.
Well, these two gentlemen to my left are two of 6 seniors that will be honored this Saturday at Brevard Memorial Stadium. Tyler Gregory, Bubba Craven, Devon Edge, Ryan Jordan, Axel Easter, and Caleb Chandler. Tyler, running back from Williamson, Georgia, Pike County High School, and a real dual threat on the squad, big receiving yards and rushing yards. Had a huge game in that win against LaGrange. Tyler, let's start with you. Have you started to think what senior day is going to be like, as far as, at least ceremonially, last game in that Brevard Tornado uniform? I know there's going to be another one, but emotions are going to be high with family and friends there, I'm sure.
Right, yeah. Actually, last year I did senior day also, so I didn't plan on coming back, but then I decided to. So
like a dress rehearsal.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny to think about it like that. And then also we got that extra game, but just the thought of doing something your entire life and like everything you do revolving around football, and then you got to step away from it after the next 2 weeks will be kind of weird feeling.
Yeah, and Axel, have you thought at all about what senior day and what that's going to feel like, in that ceremony before the game?
It's kind of surreal to think about. Like Tyler said, you've been doing something your whole life, and then it's going to be taken away from you soon. It's kind of tough to think about.
Yeah, well, you both have had incredible careers. Tyler, 6 career rushing touchdowns, 4 career passing touchdowns, 6 career receiving touchdowns. One of those passing touchdowns came this year in your current role, where you're mostly a running back. But I know you came up as a dual threat, triple option quarterback. First, let's start with that, as far as that transition from running the triple option to your role today.
Right. It was a little different at first when I met with Coach Khayat the first time, and he said, do you want to play quarterback? And I was like, what kind of offense are we going to run? He said, we're going to pass the ball. I was like, I'm not really sure I want to drop back and pass. So he said he had a position for me, somebody who knows how to facilitate everybody on the field and, get everybody where they need to go if they need to, and also know what he needs to do. So that really worked out for me well. And playing triple option quarterback, you're basically just a running back who throws the ball a couple times a game. So this really hasn't been too much of a drastic change for me.
Well, we mentioned that Methodist game before. You had a long reception of 56 yards from Dalton Cole that set up a BC touchdown, but you also passed for one on that shuffle pass play down near the goal line. So, you're comfortable in that role too, still, throwing the ball this year, right?
Oh, yes, sir, of course. And like our stuff, a lot of stuff we do with that is, option read. So I got, if I can change the play if I needed to, or go left or go right if we need to, depending on what defense they line up in. So it works out well.
Now, Axel, you're sort of a sack machine. 8.5 career sacks, career high 5 sacks this season, 12.5 tackles for loss this season for a total loss of 54 yards by the opponents and 23 career tackles for loss. What's the key for you as far as, beating that offensive lineman and getting in the backfield?
Well, I think it starts when first, the coaches put me in great positions to get those one-on-ones. And also I have teammates like Brandon Crawford and Big Lou down low. They take the double teams, so I get the one-on-one, fancy pass rushes on the end. But, I've just been taught by a lot of different people. I've had 4 different defensive line coaches here. So I've learned a lot of different things from different people, and I just use those.
Now, Axel, a defensive end from Graham, North Carolina, you also have done well creating turnovers. 2 forced fumbles and also a fumble recovery this season. 3 forced fumbles on your career. Is there an knack to that? Is there an art to forcing a fumble and ripping that ball out of the offensive player's hands?
It's just something that we work in practice. Turnover drills. Getting the nose of the football out, and when you get the opportunity to rip the ball out, you go for it.
Now, this Saturday, senior day ceremony, and then the game against Greensboro. I talked to your head coach several times about this topic, but I'd like to hear from you guys. The crowds at Brevard Memorial Stadium. When you guys get on a roll, they get amped up pretty good, and the energy sort of vibrates down to the field. Tell us how important that is, for you to hear the fans, through the helmet and really, get the team going.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a huge thing because, sometimes when we go on the road really far and we only have 50 fans there and we complete a long pass, you don't hear a bunch of stuff except for the players on the sideline, but when we're down there in the game and we get a big first down and we're a turnover or a big kick return and the fans go crazy, that's huge. It really gets the whole team up, and it's not just us. It's almost like being in a basketball atmosphere where it echoes. That's kind of what it feels like.
Axel, feel the same way on the defensive side?
Yeah, I think I kind of just stole all the words out of my mouth there. But yeah, when you get going, you can definitely feel the momentum when everybody gets behind the team. When we play with range, on that final drive, I'm sitting on the sideline cheering on the offense, and I can feel the crowd, behind me. So I can only imagine what they feel on the field.
Yeah, and I'm sure that helps a bunch when you guys need a big third down stop or a big stand defensively. Well, gentlemen, congratulations on a great career. I want to end with this. This is a very young team. A lot of freshmen and sophomores. You are 2 of the 6 seniors on this team. How much have you experienced this season mentoring the young players? And, what is sort of your method in doing that? How do you help the young guys along?
I think probably the most important thing people like the younger guys could get out of it would be just to learn as much as they could. Don't just make yourself one-dimensional. If you can know everything, you can't not be on the field if you know what you're doing in every position, and not just with football itself, but outside of football, in the classroom, obviously in the weight room, because these kids are 18 years old. If I looked at myself when I was 18, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to beat that guy every time, versus now.
And Axel, have you felt like you've taken a few guys along that front 7 under your wing?
Right. It's kind of tough, and like I'm the only senior out there sometimes. So, like some of those young players that come up and ask me, like what should I do here, what should I do there? Like they get, nervous when they get on the field and stuff like that. And, I try to calm them down, and I just try to tell them, it comes with time, experience on the field. You get more and more comfortable to it, and then now you're seeing even the freshmen, like the freshman D linemen that have had to step up, Kyle, Big Lou, they're doing great now. So it's just all about the experience, getting on the field and getting comfortable in that field.
Well, I appreciate that leadership from you guys as part of that senior class. Again, 6 seniors will be honored this Saturday in the before the Greensboro game, 1 p.m. kickoff at Brevard Memorial Stadium. Get there early for the 12:30 p.m. ceremony. Before I let you go, gentlemen, anyone else you want to thank as far as, folks along the way that might have helped you get to where you are today, heading into senior day?
Yeah, definitely my family, always being there and everything. That's probably the biggest family.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank my family, man. There's no way I would have been here or ever got to this position without my family.
Well, I appreciate those words as well, and it'll be a special day this Saturday versus Greensboro. Thank you both for coming on the show, and also congratulations on a great career here at Brevard College, and good luck this Saturday.
Sir, appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right, that were two of the 6 seniors that will be honored this Saturday prior to the Greensboro matchup. 1 p.m. kickoff at Brevard Memorial Stadium this Saturday, a 12:30 p.m. senior day ceremony where 6 seniors, Tyler Gregory, Bubba Craven, Devon Edge, Ryan Jordan, Axel Easter, and Caleb Chandler will all be honored. And glad to be joined like we are every week by head coach Bill Khayat. Good to see you, Coach.
Good seeing you.
Well, let's stick to that topic for a minute. This senior class, like I just mentioned to Axel and Tyler, it's a young team. I'm sure having these 6 seniors around has been critical as far as the growth of this team.
Without question. And, I would like to recognize each of those guys individually. And it's a benefit only having 6 in this one part to be able to do that. But Devon Edge came to us from Scottsdale Community College, and he, believe it or not, has been on the team the least amount of time because he just came here for this fall. But I've known him the longest, so I feel like I've had this long history with him, and he's helped to build this program. But he's done it in such a short period of time, and a great team player at wide receiver and valuable on special teams. Ryan Jordan at quarterback. When I first took over this program, I contacted one of my former teammates, Scott Sempenfelter, who played at the Dallas Cowboys, and he trains quarterbacks for a living in Tennessee. And I said, listen, I'm going to pro-style offense. I need somebody with a strong arm. He sends me Ryan Jordan. Ryan Jordan now holds the record for the longest touchdown pass in the history of Brevard College, 73 yards. So, wonderful to have him and his knowledge, and he won our Class Act Award for the past season too. So what a great guy to be around, to understand good character and how to carry yourself and to operate. So those are 2 guys there. And then obviously just talked to Axel Easter. He's the lone man on the defense out there, and those are 2 very humble guys that you just talked to. I mean, they really did not go on and on about all the great things they do, but he leads the conference in sacks, so he shows by example how to get it done. And he even was helping guys on the opposite side of the ball during our training camp time when guys were trying to block him, and he was tossing our own players aside. And then he would pull them over and say, all right, listen, let me help you. You can't do this, you can't do that, you probably ought to do this. So he was teaching guys on the offensive side of the ball.
Have you seen that on any level before? Yeah. I mean, you don't see that too often. Usually it's a competitive.
That's right. Exactly. So to have that kind of attitude about wanting to help the team, I mean, there was enough proof right there. Justin Peck, he's been with this program since the moment I got here. What an incredible family that he comes from. His parents, Dave and Jean, they're great supporters of the program, do so much to help out the program, to better the program, to do anything that they can to help us succeed. And he is a player, so coming from such a great family, he's a great character and a wonderful teammate. And he was the kind of guy that over time, he started on defense. I tried to recruit him to come play offense for me because I knew what a great athlete he was. Then he wanted to go to defense because he felt comfortable there. Then he saw what we were doing on offense, so he came over and had a heck of a season last year playing offense. Then we started out this year, I wanted to play him at wide receiver, but then he saw the injuries that occurred on defense. He said he'd be willing to go over there and play defense for us, so then he's getting sacks playing defensive end. Now we got him coming back, and in the meantime, he's being the special teams captain.
Wow.
So
just doing it all.
Doing it all. And then Bubba Craven, I think I said enough about him in last week's show, and just the wonderful things that he brings to this team, and of course Tyler Gregory that just spoke now. So I mean, these are all players that, especially Bubba and TG, they're lead by example guys. and you know, don't say a whole lot, but when they do, the guys listen because they know how much this game means to them and how much the school. Because think about this with those guys, especially when you're talking about Axel, Justin, TG, and Bubba. Okay, so those are 4 players that were here for the long history of finding it difficult to win.
Right.
So you're talking about 1 win in their career until this coaching staff got here. And they could have easily vacated the way most of the other players did. But that means they found something in Brevard College, and just the football and the camaraderie here that made them want to stay. They weren't forced to stay. They didn't have to stay. It's not like they had no other options. I mean, those are some incredible players that could be playing easily Division II football and some even FCS football.
Wow.
And they stayed here to do that.
Well, Coach, I know you may not look this far ahead, or perhaps you do, but I get the feeling that several years from now, when people are looking back, you know, they'll look at this senior class and say, these are the guys that really built this thing, and are the building blocks to, you know, where we're at today.
And that's what I had mentioned to these guys actually going into this game, because I told them back on the 7th of August, I said, look around this room. I said, if you want to see how to create magic, it's right here. And all the guys were doing that, and that was really a build-up to going into Davidson, because we wanted to be a Division III team to defeat a Division I opponent. So that didn't play out the way we wanted it to. Played hard, but the victory didn't come. So then I'm thinking, okay, you know, now that we're in this ECAC and we're going to have a chance at, okay, we can't win a conference championship and get recognized for that in this transition period, but we could go to a bowl game. So I'm thinking, okay, that's where it's going to be. And of course, that didn't play out quite so well. But when we lined up against Avery, okay, on Saturday night, that was a big team, and they were physical. And I know what happened to us last year against them. And I let everyone know. That's why I pulled all the pads from the guys. We didn't practice in pads during the week because I wanted them to save everything for that game. And I wanted to see our guys at 18 years old look across the line at guys. There were guys that were 6-year seniors over there. And look over across the ball and say, I'm not afraid. And they went out, and that was the hardest hitting game I have seen in my 2 years here. And not one guy quit. Wow. So even when they got pounded and had to come out, they were finding their way back in there. If they had a limp, they wanted to be in there and play.
Well, and that's worth mentioning because Brevard fell behind 25-0. And to hear that they were still fighting that hard in the second half against a tough favorite team up in Danville, Virginia, really, you know, tells of the character of this team. Coach, we do it every week as far as reviewing the past game. 25-6, the final, Avery over Brevard. You know, some rough statistical categories in terms of third down efficiency. Just converted one of those. Also, 5 sacks allowed. You know, you said this was a team that you couldn't afford mistakes against. Is that ultimately what happened in terms of able casualty?
And it really was execution, because it was by no means lack of effort. So that if I could have the most proud moment was really the entire game, which was how hard these players played. But I mean, maybe it was overkill by me and overkill by the coaching staff about just driving it home about how physical this game was going to be. And you know, throughout the game there were errors made. So we did an incredible job of shutting down that great running back that they had, but it left the quarterback to run for a lot of yards. You know, we did a good job pounding that ball against such a stout defense. But then when it got into the passing game and got beat off the edge a couple times, those with the sack. So it really wasn't lack of effort. It was the execution. And it's just a little devastating as a coach to know that you've been practicing for 3 months and there are still things out on that football field that don't look clean. Because you would think that after 3 months of going through this, certainly by now, everything should look really accurate and crisp. Yet there are still things that look a little sloppy.
Might still come with the territory of such a young team.
And that's what it is.
Well, you certainly kept up with them in a lot of areas. You know, over 300 yards of total offense, 238 yards passing. Time of possession was basically even, but the bottom line, a 25-6 defeat to Avery up in Danville, Virginia. Now, turning the page, this Saturday a game against Greensboro, and then the following Saturday the rescheduled game against Allen. So 2 more opportunities, big opportunity here, chance to end the season with 3 of the last 4 games overall, and also a chance to go 4-1 at home at Brevard Memorial Stadium. What's your message to the team then, in these early part of the week heading into the Greensboro matchup?
Okay, well, you got to understand that Greensboro is built very similar to us. So you're talking about 9 seniors, a whole lot of freshmen and sophomores. They have 2 freshman quarterbacks that they're trying to cycle through and really try to find an identity. So there's a lot of similarities just as far as the way the roster's built. A lot of guys new to the program. So now it's a little different for us in the situation where last week, pick a high school, AC Reynolds. And they got their varsity team. And instead of scrimmaging their JV, they want to scrimmage their freshmen. So if you look at the size and you look across the field to see the size, there's your difference. Right. So now the playing field may be a little bit more level. So now you've got a team that's starved for victory because Greensboro has won this year. Haven't won since September. Okay? And then you have us with 2 wins. So we need these victories just as much as they do. Greensboro, this is going to be their final game of the year. So when Hurricane Florence came through, they actually had a bye week, so they didn't need to reschedule a game. So this will be their final game, and you know how that goes. If you've ever trained anybody who's been around team sports, you're running gassers and guys are lagging and slowing down, and you tell them, "Oh yeah, one more, you got one more gasser." All of a sudden, these guys can go 100 miles an hour. They dig it from anywhere. So that's what we have to be alert for with this Greensboro team, because they know this is their last one. So we're going to definitely get their best, right, without a doubt. And for Greensboro, this is their championship game. This is the one. And I'm certain, based on record, that they believe that this is the one that they can get. So without a doubt, we're going to get the best that they have.
Now, the Senior Day ceremony is at 12:30 p.m., kickoff at 1 o'clock. Let us in behind the curtain a little bit as far as that sort of that minute-by-minute schedule heading up to the game, on a normal game versus, a Senior Day, how does that work for you guys?
Okay, typically we clear the field 20 minutes prior to kickoff. So that gives the guys time to go in, readjust shoes, cleats, and all that sort of thing, and then some final news and notes before we go out. And then, of course, we have to have time to come back out for the invocation and the anthem and coin toss and captains. So typically 20 minutes out. So we're only going to back that up about 10, as opposed to what happened last week against Everett when they had 20-plus seniors. And we got relegated to a whole other field to warm up. We were actually on a soccer field down at Well because they needed 45 minutes to go through all those. Wow. So with 6 seniors, 10 minutes will be about the program. But once we finish our warm-up at about 12:25, once the players clear, they'll talk to all the recruits on the way out and thank them for being there. And then I'm going to have those guys line up right outside of the helmet. And then I'll have the 6 seniors, they'll all be inside that helmet, and it'll be their last hurrah to be able to come out of that tunnel, flying out of there. And they want to do the high fives or the handshakes or the fist pumps or whatever they want to do for that last ride going through. And then, of course, we'll have parents and family members out there to greet the players as they come out in midfield.
Now, staying on this theme of letting us in behind the curtain a little, what happens at halftime? The team heads into the locker room. Are you addressing the team in mass? Are they in different position groups? What kind of goes on in the halftime locker room?
Well, it actually depends on the venue. Okay, because certain locker rooms are set up where it's not large enough to house everybody, so we have to separate people. So sometimes an entire defense can fit in one room, an entire offense can fit in another. Sometimes everybody can fit in one room, and we've been at places where only 5 guys can fit in this room, and 5 here and 5 here. So imagine trying to address a team, and they're all over.
Right, so you're making those adjustments that plan before the game when you see the venue?
Correct, exactly. So then we lay it all out beforehand. Coach Dynamite, is our go-to guy on that, and he works all the logistics of everything. But typically, obviously, if you can talk to everybody at once, what we like to do is when we first come off, we let the players do their own thing first. When they come off, just kind of cool down, the motion of the game and the heart rate, try to get that down, let them get Gatorades, let them eat, we give them Cliff Bars, just anything to keep the nutrients in there. And then the coaching staff will break off and discuss what took place in that first half. And then we as a coaching staff talk about adjustments that need to be made. And then once we're all on the same page, then we deliver that message to the offense, to the defense, and to the special teams. So it's one voice, and obviously we're all on the same page, so they're hearing one message. And then after that message has been delivered to the various individuals that need to get it, then we'll call them all up, typically about 6 minutes before the half is out. And then if need be, some type of rah-rah speech. If not, it could be a player, it could be a coach. It just depends, really. You have to read the situation and the game flow, things of that nature. And then after that, we go back out, do a little bit of warm-up, and get back to it.
Last one on this kind of theme, because I think listeners enjoy, hearing what goes on behind the scenes. What's the breakdown? We talked about your assistant coaching staff last show of, coaches on the field and their roles and responsibilities, and then coaches up, in the booth, area, either calling players or calling defenses and what have you. How do you run things on that front?
Right. Well, okay. So when you're at ground level, okay, so you're down on the field, you're very caught up into the energy and emotion of the game. Okay, and your perspective is such that you can't really see a lot of the things that are happening on the far side of the field and down in the corners, but you're in there to get a sense of the player and how they're operating, and can you tell that they're in a rhythm or they're in a zone, or do they look a little distressed or out of sorts, and then everything that's happening down there, you can get caught up in the moment as a coach down on the field. The ones that are up in the box, now it's a calm atmosphere, and the perspective is such that you can see it all. So you could say, boy, we really ought to blitz off this edge. Boy, we really want to run the ball over here.
Right, all 22 players.
Yep. You can see it all from up there. Okay, so it makes you're actually a very good decision maker up in the box, because everything is so calm and the view is such that you can really see what's happening, and it makes so much sense to you from up there. So you have to have coaches that are up in the box that can stare at one place but see 22 things moving at once. And the ones that can slow that game down from up there, but then have the communication skills to relay that message to the coach on the field.
Right.
So I can't see if the guy is lined up on the far side of the guard or the near side of the guard, because he's way over there. So I got to trust that the guy upstairs can see them. And then when things happen on the field, you don't know why did that guy get in the backfield, or why did we miss that block, or how'd that guy cut it up and nobody was there. Sometimes those things are hard to see from that ground level, and then again that information comes from up top. So again, that's the major thing, that difference between the two. But then the ones up top will say, oh, we should really do this, but if you're on the field, you really know what's going on. I don't know about that one, man. This is a totally different deal down here.
Right.
So it's like two separate worlds, and they're trying to mesh.
And I'm sure there's a cadence and also a rhythm to the headset communication between you guys. Otherwise, you could be talking on top of each other.
That's right. So, each guy has a role. So I'll just speak specifically to the offense. So as the head coach, I can click over and I can hear all the guys on defense, or I can choose to hear all the guys on offense. So if I'm on the offensive side of the headset, so we'll have a guy that has to say that it's 2nd and 4. I have to have somebody say that it's on the left hash or the right hash. So you're going to have almost like a play-by-play guy on the headset. So that's important for everybody to know. I mean, that's how you call plays, is to know where the ball is, what the down and distance is, all of that. So that's important. But there's not a whole lot of extra words being thrown out during the plays. Okay, so it's really silent during that time, because everybody's watching what's going on. And then after the play, something could be said, but typically nothing's really said until after a drive ends. So once a drive ends, now communication begins, where the offensive line coach might talk to the running back coach, and they're talking about protection. Why was there a sack, or what happened? And then in the passing game, why was that guy covered? Why wasn't he covered? Why did he throw it here? Why didn't he throw it there? So all of that conversation takes place once the opposite side of the ball is up. and then you make the corrections, and then you sit down with the players and then make the corrections with them. That's where they get out the dry erase board. You see the coach in there drawing all that stuff. That's after all the conversation has happened among the coaches to do that. But everybody runs their things differently. It just depends on what team. But for us specifically, like I said, we have a guy designated specifically to personnel of the opponent. Hey, they're bringing in nickel defense. Hey, they're bringing in their sub package. They got their big guys in there. Hey, number 93's out. Hey, they brought in 46. You know, this game plan specific things. So we have a coach for personnel. We have a coach for down and distance. We have a coach for hash mark. You know, we have all of that thing. We have a coach that signals the plays in. We have a coach that lets everybody know what personnel we're in offensively, so we know who to run in the game. So it's very well orchestrated, but it's things that you just wouldn't know if you're just in the stand and you just watch guys run in and watch guys run out.
Well, really appreciate you explaining all that, because I think people would love to know these things and they don't necessarily get the chance to learn about them. Coach, final thoughts heading into Senior Day this Saturday versus Greensboro, 1 p.m. kickoff, 12:30 p.m. ceremony. You know, what are the keys to the Tornadoes getting back in their winning ways against Greensboro?
Well, they just have to understand that, as I told you earlier, I mean, this is Greensboro's final game, and we're going to get their best. And we have got to come out and execute. That has been the key word for us as to why we've been unsuccessful at times, is because we just don't execute at all times. We can string 4 together, but that 5th one we didn't do it and we miss out. We can string 3 or 4 together, but then we miss out again. So if we can be consistently good, we'll be in great shape. And more often than not, the errors that are made, they're based on our own doing, not something that the opponent does to create the error. So if we can just make sure we play a good, clean, fundamental football game, we should be pretty successful on Saturday.
Well, fans, hope you can make it out there. Brevard Memorial Stadium this Saturday, 1 p.m. versus Greensboro. Get there early to honor those 6 seniors, really a special senior class. Coach Bill Khayat, thanks for joining the show as always, and good luck this Saturday.
Okay, appreciate it, Phil. Thank you.
And Coach Bill Khayat, not only previewing Saturday's Senior Day, but really giving us a great look behind the curtain on what goes on with the coaching staff and the team on any given Saturday. So we will begin to wrap up this edition of Tornado Talk. Do want to just recap what we went over earlier. Now, we opened the show with some breaking news, and if you're just now tuning in, the women's soccer team qualified for the SAAC championships. They were hoping for this opportunity after just a sensational regular season. The women's soccer team season will continue at the SAAC championships. It's a 16-team tournament, and it begins this Saturday versus McDaniel College up in Maryland. So congratulations to the women's soccer team. Big news today that broke just before showtime here on Tornado Talk. And we had head coach Juan Mascaro, head women's soccer coach, not only let us know how excited he is and the team is about that SAAC championships berth, but also recap just a phenomenal regular season for the women's soccer team and a phenomenal senior class that has now very well deserved earned a chance to continue their season. Just to recap what you might have missed this past week in the world of Brevard College Tornadoes athletics, volleyball closed out its 2018 season. They had a match versus Montreat. Men's golf competed in the Maryville College Invitational. 3 Tornadoes finishing in the top 12 there. Football, we just reviewed with Coach Bill Khayat, had a tough loss to a very formidable Averett team up in Danville, Virginia. But the Tornadoes will be back in the friendly confines of Brevard Memorial Stadium this Saturday. A couple late week awards were handed out last week. Defender David Garrett of the men's soccer team named to the USA South All-Sportsmanship team, along with Brittany Franks of volleyball, also named All-Sportsmanship team. Now, if you're planning your schedule for this week, here's what's on tap. Tomorrow, if you happen to be down in the Orangeburg, South Carolina area, head on over to the campus of South Carolina State. The men's basketball team will play their first game of the season. It'll be an exhibition for the Tornadoes against NCAA Division I South Carolina State. That's 7 p.m. tomorrow night in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Women's basketball and men's basketball both open their regular season with games in earnest at Toccoa Falls, 6 and 8 p.m. Tip-off times in Toccoa Falls, Georgia. That's this Friday. Saturday, we mentioned the women's soccer team. That game is going to be at 11 a.m. versus McDaniel College in Westminster, Maryland. Go to bctornadoes.com, go to the women's soccer schedule page, and you'll find the link to the live stream broadcast there. Cyclocross has its season opener after the Brevard College Tornado cycling program came off that great showing at the Mountain Bike National Championships. Time for the second discipline of the year with cyclocross starting up this weekend. That's Saturday in Bristol, Tennessee at an event hosted by King University. Climbing will be back in action in Winston-Salem on the campus of Wake Forest. And then Saturday, right here at Brevard Memorial Stadium, it's Senior Day, where 6 seniors will be honored prior to the 1 p.m. kickoff. You want to get there by 12:30 p.m. to see the Senior Day festivities, and then it all kicks off at 1 p.m. Brevard versus Greensboro. And finally, another men's basketball game on Saturday as their road trip continues at USC Upstate in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I want to thank all of our guests tonight. And women's soccer coach Juan Mascaro. We had 2 of our leaders from the SAAC committee, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, who have done just such a great job with that Cans Across the Conference program. Jack Shade, the president of SAAC, and Paxton Brown, the head of community engagement. They're both men's lacrosse student athletes. We had 2 of those 6 seniors from the football team, Tyler Gregory and Axel Easter. Thanks to them for coming on the show, and congratulations to them on great Brevard College careers. And as we do every show this time of year, we had head football coach Bill Khayat. So I want to thank all our guests. I want to thank those behind the scenes who helped make this broadcast possible. And finally, I want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Zaxby's, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and our host for Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. Head on down here to Dugan's Pub, 29 West French Broad Street in Brevard. We're here every Monday night at 7 p.m. and a great place to, enjoy some Irish specialties, an amazing drink and food menu, and great sports bar atmosphere, all sorts of TVs. They're cranking up the Monday Night Football as we speak. And that'll wrap up another edition of Tornado Talk. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for next week's show. Thanks for tuning in.